Good morning.
Hey everyone, welcome to this, our first live attempt really at a trade show to do something like this. We realized that the invitations and everything have been a little bit hairy. Cannot apologize enough for that, but hopefully you will all get to see this recorded, or some of you will even get to tune in live. So we're here at SC19 in Denver, at the Denver Convention Center, I believe, which is in Colorado. I have no idea where on the map in the US we're in, but we'll try that later. But here with me is Mr. Scott Noteboom. Scott. So Scott has recently come on board to Submer as our CTO. We're super excited about it. But maybe, first of all, before we go into that, maybe Scott, you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your path up until now.
You mean today? So I woke up really early, got on the plane, have no voice, but it's good to be here. And so relative to myself, I'm a data center guy. And so I spent most of my career working on software and started a couple of my own companies, and then trying to blend software and technology and infrastructure. And I look for fundamentally, what are the next big fun things to work on that solve big problems, hopefully that do good for the world. And I think that immersion cooling kind of helps define what I kind of view as infrastructure 2.0. And there's a lot of opportunities, and I think a lot of changes, a lot of improvements that are built upon even the immersion cooling itself. And that's why I'm here. I've figured that out, and I think we're going to do great things not only for the industry, but the world as a whole.
Okay, cool. Maybe a little bit about, just to share a tiny bit with people, what it is that what's the magic going to be like at Submer over the next years, months, whatever?
Well, so I think that the challenge is much more complex, which also means the opportunity is that much more beautiful than just the immersion cooling. So if you really think about it, when you go back in the years and realize that not an incredible amount physically has changed in the data center when it comes to kind of raised floor critical power and cooling, even going back into the 50s and 60s. So if you think about it, it's almost like our grandfathers designed this infrastructure 1.0. And when you think of infrastructure 1.0, you really think about a building and servers and equipment that's all designed like one big air conditioning unit. And you realize, why did they design it like an air conditioning unit? And the reason is because our grandfathers, just like you and I, breathed electricity. So everything in regards to the cloud and the internet was built around the server plane, air moving across it, the data center, where's hot air and cold air going? How do we cool our batteries with air? The entire data center was built as a body designed to breathe air. And now we're at a point where we're looking at this conference, and the industry itself is driving change that makes air less optimal. And you could argue that air always has been less optimal for what machines and how machines want to breathe. So now that there's a new way for machines to breathe that are driven by this industry here, what does the new data center look like, knowing that you and I go into it and still breathe air, but now we have machines that are breathing fluid? And fundamentally, what does that data center of infrastructure 2.0 look like? That's the fun challenge. And looking at the opportunities of it really show the great, opportunity.
Okay. When you think about the advent of cloud, and I'm sure you saw that thing rolling in, and I'm also sure that you were thinking, okay, is this another fad or something else? Because it's something to me which was never really realized, because it should have really been something super efficient and something that would have changed the data center as we knew it. That was at least what I was expecting from cloud before it came to whatever be mainstream like it is today. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that, so relative to cloud, and I'm going to define cloud as horizontal clusters of many nodes of computer that interop with each other and do automated system resource management and such. Relative to clustered computing, I think that that isn't anything that I think it makes sense. I think it puts together the benefits of distributed systems that we learned pre-cloud with the benefits of mainframe we learned before distributed systems and getting the both of those. So that roadmap really isn't surprising. The changes of the data center that it drove, I would say fundamentally it didn't drive massive changes in the data center. And we really spent the last, I would say the last 10 to 15 years of my career has really been how do we further perfect the air-cooled data center while meeting the increased needs of these newer and newer forms of computing. And eventually, I think you squeeze out most of the efficiency that you can get, but also you run into a wall of the limitations. So, I think we rode that kind of horse to the end, and now we've got this, fancy automobile that it may be time to change vehicles, and that's what we're working to do.
Okay, two little things. One thing is, I know that Daniel, our CEO, was confronted with a lot of very strange air-based, trying to mix air with liquid, like with rear door cooling, with in-row chillers, working together somehow in order to really push the maximum out of air, or perhaps for data centers that don't have access to water to the floor or whatever else for their design.
Yeah.
Any thought of what you've been seeing there? We might see a few as we walk around later.
Well, it's funny, we're looking at like dripless connections right over here relative to flow. And those are the kind of things that you can look up. Oh, I'm gonna hook a dripless connector that's going to be pressurized with fluid to my servers as standalone entities. And that's another option to look at things and do things. But then I look at that and I go, that kind of looks like the air hoses at a gas station. I've never known one to never leak, particularly when it's used for long periods of time. So yeah, I think that the good news is the continuous advancement of Moore's law, high performance compute, the emergence of really high density compute needs driven by machine learning, artificial intelligence. All of these things, quantum computing that's coming up, are all enabling us to get that much more computing out of a smaller and smaller footprint. We've been on that Moore's law path for a long time now, and we kind of run out of what we can do with air, and there's a lot of folks who are figuring out different ways to do it. And I think all of those approaches, the more approaches to figure things out, you could argue the better, because that helps us align on what truly the best approach is by looking at many.
Okay. There are a lot more liquid cooling exhibitions here than I've ever seen at a show like this before. So for me, again, it's just a sign that maybe finally everybody's accepting the way things are going. It's a mixture of something in row, great people like Cool IT, or like others who are doing maybe something immersion cooling like. And I think we will get to see a couple of those. One notable newbie is a company called TMG.
Okay.
And TMG have been, so let me see. So TMG have actually been, give me 1 second here for this, 1 second. Apologies, everybody. Pause for a second. That's great, huh? This is the wonder of live.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's good that we might be able to edit out that little bit in between. But just taking where we were, back again. So I was talking about some of the liquid cooling or even immersion cooling exhibitions that are here at this show, and that I'd like to bring you to see as well. One in particular, and a notable one, is actually the company called TMG. I believe they come from the crypto mining space, where they say they've always had their eye on, let's say, HPC, on high density computing outside of that realm, which is absolutely fine. But this enabled them to learn. So we'll go and have a look at that. They made a big launch, big announcement yesterday. Has some parallels with some of the things that we've been thinking about. And also, I think we have Green Revolution Cooling from Texas who are down there. Not sure if we're going to be seeing them. We will also wander over to CRSI, one of our hardware partners. Of course, we have many who are here, NVIDIA, Fujitsu, Supermicro, HPE, but to name a few, you know, there's so many of them, they're all here. But where you will also see the first smart pod, which was made in the USA. And I want to get a sticker born in the USA and slap it on the side of that pod. That would be good.
I love it. This is actually going to be my first few. As you know, I just got here.
Oh, great.
So,
okay, cool.
It'll be definitely first sight.
So let's take a little wander. Let's try and really make this challenging now. Okay, and we see how we do not only with everything else. So here from CompuDynamics, Mr. Lee Piazza, hello. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Anyway. CompuDynamics are providing us with maintenance, installation, and support services throughout all of North America. So it's a very important partnership for us. Something else we have here for anyone who has not been looking at this here, I'm just going to show you our current setup here, where we've got Mr. Jeff Brown, who's speaking to a prospect, which I'm not going to interrupt him. So there we go. And this is Gloria, who is holding up this laptop here. And of course, Daniel, our CEO. And Gloria, our marketing director, but today, unfortunately, she has got to follow us around with this. So let's see how this goes. Okay, Scott, I'm going to just have this camera here in front of me. So
yeah, where are we going?
We're going to start wandering over towards this TMG crowd, but I just wanted you to have a little bit of a look left and right and to see what's here. It's a mixture of these very well-known brands from like the University of Virginia, I think Virginia Tech and Washington State and Arizona, and you see them all here. Any of those names that mean a lot to you, Scott?
Yeah, several of them mean a lot to me, and especially what's really interesting is how much of the universities are getting involved in this. And most notably, this is really our job. When you look into the physical conferences that involve physical infrastructure, you realize how slow change is to come. And then you come to this conference and realize how quickly change is happening. That's where I think one of the most important things, and I call it API, but how the virtual and the physical how we better connect those dots and how they better interoperate, because it's always been two different worlds. And now with the demands getting higher, how do we connect those dots? And I think that's really key, because this dot both feel good, but they both feel distinctly different between the traditional data center conference and the supercomputing conference.
I have to tell you, you're completely right. And there's none of the big colo players here. So we've no Digital Realty. Yes, they may have a couple of people here. We don't have Equinix represented, as far as I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But we are really focusing here on HPC, which is not their natural go-to market. So that's one of the reasons.
Well, if you think about it, high-powered compute is all about advancing technology as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Where in the data center business, remember, data center change is potential risk is potential failure. So change only comes about by the demands of the end user and the customer, which is effectively the high performance compute. So it's really, once you start to see momentum of change escalating in this space, then it starts to underline the urgency of how we must change in the physical space. So it's interesting times.
Okay, let's move along a little bit, and we'll make sure that we catch another couple of great logos. I am also keeping an eye out for Clemson University. They've got that big tiger paw, and we will be just giving you a little preview on a project that we're doing together with them starting at the beginning of next year. I'm sure we'll be making plenty of noise about it. But they are one of the few universities that are also now very willing to adopt immersion cooling, first of all, in baby steps. And I think it's also the right way to go, not to immediately go towards like a huge cluster, etc. But, learning and also showing people from the operation side and everything, because you need a lot of buy-in from a lot of different people in order to pull something like that off.
You do, and I'm slightly distracted because we're just walking some of the Lenovo Intel folks, and we're already seeing, liquid cooling connections into servers. And
hello, how are you doing? What's your name?
Eugene.
Eugene. Hi, I'm Dee. Hi. We're from Submer Immersion Cooling, and we're working together on a couple of bits and pieces, and we'd look forward to catching up with you later on. Okay? Thank you very much. That was Eugene, along with all the other great folks there as well. So let me see. Okay, well, Clemson is really eluding me right now, but I'm sure we'll come across it at some stage. Yep.
I won't.
Hi. So this is what I mean about the complete mix. And Gloria, do you have any comments on maybe marketing in this concept with throwing as many words as possible into this space on this? It's really something to read, hey?
Oh, yeah. I mean, too much information. Just lost priority.
So we can talk marketing. When I was at Apple, you would get a little bit of feedback if you had more than like 10 words on one slide. That was our belief. So.
You always know the priorities where you have to start reading. What's the main message? What is the secondary message? That's pretty important. When you put a lot of information into one wall, you don't know which of these brands is the emissioner, the one that's talking to us, which are the important things in here. There's a lot of pictures, schematic, graphics, and
yeah,
but you know what makes up for it is when you have a project called MPES, the Massive Parallel Electro X-ray Simulator.
that must be a good one.
Oh,
Yeah. No, but like, it's really typical, of course, of a very techie organization that are putting together this copy. And it's basically saying, hey, everything is important to us. And of course, they've got a different audience to people like us. But this is why we have Gloria on board to help us to not do that. But no, like, you're doing great work here, MPEX people, and Géant, Kat, and go ahead. Okay, great. Yeah, well, as you would expect it, to be.
Daniel told me, I didn't know, but all the data centers are with these 4 colors of
yeah.
everything. So it's kind of a brand identity or a corporative design identity for them. That's related to the data centers.
Yeah, it's something that they've done for many years in keeping those colors.
Did you notice when we were walking by Google, they had Google screens, search screens, and just because we were walking by, they started to show Submer ads.
No.
So they must have been listening.
Very good. They're amazing, these Google people. Yeah. They know what we're thinking. Okay, we really are going to try and head straight over here to the right, over to the TMG stand. This is quite a large hall, everybody, so please bear with us. Here we go. You can see it in the background there, Scott. Probably the most expensive exhibition stand we have here. You see these circles here, just as past, it's the big black overhead piece there.
Also, give me a primer. What are we going to see?
Yeah, so from what I understand, I have not seen the exhibition inside itself, but this is immersion cooling. It's 2-phase. Which means that it has to be completely sealed, but they've also included some robotics in order to handle the servers.
Go figure.
And I believe they've partnered up with a lot of people. They've gone where their own core competencies lie, but they're really orchestrating, bringing together a number of different people, which has enabled them to bring this out, I think, in less than 2 years, which is quite amazing. So they're asking us here at the end if we're ready. I think we are, but and one of the nice things is they've called this Otto. I don't know if you ever saw that children's book, Otto is a Robot. One of the best children's books ever. If you haven't seen that one, it's great. About Otto who becomes a friend of this young child. Anyhow, we're going to ask, are we allowed in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. So this is great. We're allowed in here into Otto. some very, very nice stuff that we're seeing here. I'm hoping that the resolution is good enough and that you can see what's going on. So what you're seeing here is, I believe, a 120 kilowatt setup where it is two-phase immersion cooled. I don't see very much happening right now. Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. We will. Yeah, no problem. No problem. We'll turn the video off.
So this would be a blade design.
Scott, what did we see in there? Do we know what we saw in there?
Yeah, it looked like a pretty complex node that had a couple, we'll call them cabinets of immersion cooling, dual phase, and then it looked like some robotics to swap the server, the nodes themselves. And then it looks like what we have here is a hydro blade, which looks to be a 6 kW server that's got 16 GPUs in a single rack unit. Looks like this purpose designed for immersion cooling, which is exciting.
Okay, cool. Just looking at this. Okay, you're okay. Go ahead. Yeah, so I think that was slightly larger than one.
I was listening to you.
I thought it was slightly larger than what one rack unit. It seemed to be a little bit wider than one rack unit. So, but like still, I mean, it's still a lot of power in what is less than 2 rack units.
Yes.
6,000 watts. So it is definitely, a sign. You can only do that kind of thing in any way with immersion cooling. There's no other way about it. Yeah.
So clearly, by their concern of us walking through and talking and looking at things, they didn't seem too much into the open source movement. They were a little concerned about what we were looking at.
Oh, a little bit, but I think they've just launched it last night, so I think they're trying to keep things under wraps and make sure it goes well.
Pretty exciting.
I just spotted Clemson here through, so I think we might try and just sneak on through here. And I was hoping to wander past the Barcelona Supercomputing Center as well, BSC.
Oh, they're here as well.
They are indeed, and everybody's exhibiting. So basically everyone who has a supercomputer in the top 500, they're all exhibitors here as well. And from what I understand, they're doing a number of things. They are recruiting PhD students. They are recruiting faculty members. Maybe we shouldn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
But they're also, of course, trying to really raise the profile of what they're doing internationally. So Clemson was off to the right here, somewhere through, so I'm sure we can find this. Here we go. Here's the tiger paw. Yeah, so yeah, Scott, this is a project we'd like to get you involved in. It was been kind of happening before you came on board. But what we're doing together with Clemson University is we have a smart pod installed in their data center, which is a little bit off campus. But we're working together with both undergrads, graduate students, and it's also partially funded by the NSF, which is really, really nice, where we are working on really testing, pushing the components to the limit regarding something very similar we had started to do with IBM. In other words, unleashing or taking the thermal barriers off some of those processors and really seeing how they perform. Are you really able to get a reliable performance over a period of time? And of course, this provides us with some extremely valuable data, but it's also great for the students because they get to play around with technologies that they otherwise would not do at all. So,
yeah. What's really cool is to hear, NSF working with them, because that's one thing coming on board that I'm noticing is hearing from universities. So I just heard of, what is it called? The ES2 lab, which is several other universities working in the US, largely funded by NSF, looking at things such as immersion cooling.
Yeah.
So it's, even seeing what the Department of Energy and such is doing, it seems pretty clear that government is definitely recognizing where things are going in that space, which is good.
I think that's a big difference maybe between the US and the rest of the world. I think in the US, there's a lot more government funding for stuff like that than there are elsewhere. I'm not saying that there aren't programs in other places, but it's very apparent. Of course, we're here in the US, but still it's very apparent that most of that kind of funding is coming through. And these are a state university. So, that's why they're also partially funded that way.
Well, it's really interesting because in my experience, especially seeing governmental agencies that have to do quick, down and dirty, yet high performance modular data center deployments, and then are running into problems. I see a lot of those agencies that recognize the problems, but then there's other parts of the world where I would say parts of Asia and definitely Europe that are realizing and underlying the power savings and the environmental aspects of things. So when you look at, here we have a benefit that's good for people, yet at the same time, on the other side of the hand, we have a problem. We have an opportunity to solve a problem that people have relative to this functionality. You put those two together, and even those two global objectives kind of come together for the same.
Yeah. Let's head on back up this way here, up towards, we're going to make our way up towards 2CRSI. And this is, I believe these guys here, this is the supercomputing facility and the university in, I think it's in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. So also showing that there are some big investments as well in the Middle East in that. Huge Hewlett-Packard booth over there, as one would expect. Or sorry, HPE, pardon me. Lots of other, let's say, smaller exhibitions, but still people doing some great work, I'm sure. And Fujitsu and IBM. So again, all of these core players, and including Intel, of course, as well, super important for us to be working together with. And not only that, I think it's also important to talk about the interconnect and the switch manufacturers and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because all of the computing means nothing without it all being able to communicate together.
Yeah.
So it's why we work today together with Arista, with Mellanox, with EdgeCore, and others.
One of the things that I think is a good opportunity, and the timing is right with immersion cooling, is again, in immersion cooling, when you're in the fluid, you are operating in a machine optimal environment. But I think it presents a perfect opportunity where a lot of network manufacturers in an air-cooled environment have always dealt with, we're going to be using people to plug in and unplug all the cables. So what is that? Cabling is really designed from a people perspective. So with immersion cooling, not only can you make the existing ways of manually cabling things compliant with immersion cooling, and arguably even make the cable more reliable.
Yeah.
What is the new form of not requiring as much cable connections in the servers underneath the fluid, because there's not going to be as many hands connected and disconnected.
I wanted to grab this gentleman here, Mr. Adrien. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad. Hello.
Very good, very good. Please meet Scott Noteboom.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, great
So
to meet you.
Adrien is the CIO of 2CRSI, and Scott is our new CTO. So yeah, that's what I said to him earlier. You think you feel small? Look at this. Yeah. This is ridiculous. So Adrien, do you want to tell us a little bit about 2CRSI?
2CRSI is a French company based in Strasbourg in the east of France. We are about 140 people. To go very quick, we just acquired Boston last week.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you. We are around 350 people now. If we control the group, we are based in. We had 30 countries now with Boston, but CRSI is in Dubai, in San Jose, in Manchester, and in France also. So now we are producing server. We build server. We can do server that others don't do. We are really agile, and our goal is to give the customers good products. That means if a customer wants a specific kind of CPU, we are able to produce a large amount with this CPU, not another CPU, not something that will not give the performance. And it's one of our talents to do that. It's not easy because a lot of companies just buy server as it is, but we think that we can do better than that. And also, we want to go in a green direction more than others, so we do immersion cooling, direct liquid cooling, immersion with few guys somewhere.
Yeah.
But we are, I have to say, agnostic. So we build the server that will go in liquid to be.
Maybe how long have you guys been doing immersion cooling? Because you've been working together with some of our competitors for quite some years, producing immersion cooling servers.
So it's quite new. I think it's 18 months.
Okay.
And our goal is to mix different kind of server. That means you can look here everywhere. You have 19-inch server.
Yes.
We can create a specific server in 19, but it's not really useful because you can find a lot of them.
Yes.
But also we are in OCP. We are platinum member OCP, and we thought that we can. We developed like a parallel system of server on OCP by removing the fans.
Yes.
And that's the first step to immersion cooling. So our idea is to modify a little bit the server from OCP, so to make them I don't know how to say compatible for immersion.
Yes.
But it's less work than doing everything. So we have the server for OCP, and with Submer, we can put the server in 21-inch directly in the tank, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Very good.
Have you so how has your work been? Have you also gotten into DC relative to the OCP project and directly taking DC power into your server?
To put the power inside the
avoiding the AC power supply.
So it's not as easy as it seems. We used to have like power shelves with 3 phases and giving 12 volt at the end on power bar. So this is DC power, but if you talk about 48 volts coming directly in the power bar to have DC-DC, for example, it's something we are working on. And in this event, I found a company that are doing very small chip or electrical components that have a very high efficiency, like 99.9% of efficiency.
Yes.
And we do like PDD that connect on the power bar. And the idea is to transform from 48 volts to 12 volts directly.
Yep.
So that's an idea. We are working on this project. It's totally confidential, so you need to tell what I said.
I'm sorry. Here we go. Anyway, so
to continue to build on that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
To continue to build on that. When it comes to immersion cooling, I've actually been working on the battery and the UPS side of electronics. And what you're getting is what very well an immersion cooling pod that could house, however number of you, and could also potentially house upwards of 50 kW of UPS capacity, because in immersion cooling, the density of everything is getting much denser, much more powerful, much more higher discharge and decharge capabilities. And so combining those things together with the potential of then servers getting smaller as well, that's where the immersion environment almost becomes the data center.
One issue, if I can find one immersion, is the storage.
Yes.
Because immersion is perfect for ITDP, high density, and we see that today with the Cascade AP from Intel. It's a really nice CPU, a lot of cores, but a lot of TDP. We just purpose directly with Link today. Our goal is to do server with Cascade AP immersion.
Yes.
And so we have a lot of deals, very perfectly closed, and perhaps adding some SSD behind. And I'll let you just after we are able to create new kind of server. It will not be one unit, two unit, it can be whatever we want. So we can put a lot of blades together of this kind of server, but we need to manage the power, and the power is not infinite, but we need to create some components. If you do a turn around on this, you see this is on the old chart for partnership we have, also on the gray parts, things and the green parts which are products. some servers, some kind of example.
Let's take a look around the other side. This gentleman here is trying to speak. And yeah.
For being here today.
AMD, hello.
Of Intel because the CPU are totally compatible with Immersion.
Yeah.
For Intel, we don't have certification directly, but
so this is one of the things that we're also hoping that Scott is going to work us through with us. Scott has been working together with Intel for quite a number of years. So
and so Intel guys, give me a certification for the CPU. We can give to the customer and say, okay, Intel certified that this CPU is okay for Immersion. We can certify that it works.
Yes.
But the customer wants to have a product that will have a long life in Immersion. Not only
they want to hear it from the manufacturer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you see, I know that some server in OCP based on AMD. This version is one AMD with direct connection on a GPU. It can be also AMD GPU. I think this is P5000 from NVIDIA. We can manage 6 GPU only in liquid cooling or in direct liquid cooling due to the temperature. You see here we develop a special kind of connector who is going on the power bar, the OCP rack we develop. There is no fan, as I told you. The fan are behind the rack. This is another kind of version you will see you will never see that anywhere else. I think, sorry for my English. It's 5 motherboards, 5 CPU AMD. So in this case, you can have you multiply by 30 because you can put 30 server like that in a rack. So it's a lot of server. It's 30 multiplied by 5 server.
Okay.
So
let's maybe just because we have to wrap this up just a little bit. Yeah.
21 inch on the right and 19 inch on the left.
I'm staying close to you, not only because I really love you, Adrien, but because I'm trying to also capture your voice as well. So Adrien, you do know this year is the first ever Submer Smart Pod produced where?
In the USA.
Wow. Hello. Very good. Very good. And it even has a little floating unicorn inside of it.
It's even that just born this night, so it will grow up a lot.
Very good. Very good.
This has a server you just simplified. They are immersed, and we can do what we want inside. But our 19-inch server are developed here with some handles. We can remove them very easily from the opposed.
Okay.
That's it.
So co-branding, we love it.
Another kind of server. You saw AMD one, we have the Intel one. So in this case, we have 5 motherboards with Intel for workstation CPU Xeon. So it's I think 8 or 10 cores, but high frequency. So it's very good for embarrassingly parallel HPC. It's used in oil and gas. But as you see, one thing very tricky to manage the cabling.
Yeah.
It's you see just your palm, and you can multiply by 1, 2, 3.
This is not going to be exciting when it's all in the back plane.
Yeah. But we don't have back plane. If you look on the back, we have the fans.
Yeah.
A huge amount of fans, and the last technology we present here is the cooling, the direct liquid cooling solution we developed.
Okay.
The server with direct liquid cooling.
All right. Where everything else is not possible. Adrien, thank you so much. We are going to make our way, and we will of course come.
You have an office there. If you guys ever want to work together, let me know.
We'll come back later. Okay. So let's just very briefly just wrap this up. Scott, we're just going to say just to people to thank them very much for having joined us. I'm not sure if anyone had any particular questions because I don't think I can even see the questions here.
I think we're pretty lucky if this works.
Yeah. Let me just see. I just see. Have there been no questions so far? I think Scott's been answering everything so lovely. And yeah, just once more again, thank you so much, Scott.
No, thank
you everyone who tuned in live. I can see some of you there. And for anyone who missed either the beginning of this, and it was the best show ever, by the way, please, you can watch the recording afterwards. We'll put it together and have it up there in about a day or two. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody else. Have a wonderful day. Okay, straight away.